We all know that ETH has been struggling, recent gains notwithstanding. Aside from Bitcoin taking center stage and a rise in competing blockchains, a major challenge that Ethereum has faced is, well, Ethereum. While everybody has questioned why it's been lagging, many have pointed to its leadership and strategy as culprits. However, things could be looking up in this area thanks to recent changes at the Ethereum Foundation. That's why today we'll be zooming in on the Ethereum Foundation, looking at recent controversies, examining who's in, who's out, what they're planning next, and what this could all mean for ETH's price. My name is Guy. Stay tuned. Let's begin with a bit of context. For those unfamiliar, decisions around Ethereum's development are overseen by the Ethereum Foundation, a Swiss non-profit that was created by Ethereum's co-founders back in 2014. The Foundation's primary vision is to foster an open-source ecosystem by supporting the development of the Ethereum base chain and its many dApps, Layer 2s, and other surrounding technologies. Crucially, though, the Foundation aims to do all of this in a decentralized way. The Ethereum Foundation is able to achieve this because it doesn't actually control Ethereum's development, not even through governance. Instead, the Foundation provides strategic funding through one of its initiatives called the Ecosystem Support Project, or ESP. Now basically, the ESP provides funding and support to critical infrastructure projects that support Ethereum's ongoing evolution, like those focusing on scalability, security, or improvements to Ethereum's user experience, or UX. According to the ESP's website, it awards dozens of grants each quarter to support research, infrastructure, community and education, and builder tools. As such, the Foundation operates as one part of a broader ecosystem of developers, facilitating Ethereum's organic growth. This is in contrast to other more conventional nonprofits that play a larger role in dictating whichever direction their respective projects or companies go in. Now, the Ethereum Foundation focuses on research and development and has coordinated weekly meetings with Ethereum's core developers since its inception. Known as All Core Developer Calls, or ACDCs, these meetings revolve around discussing Ethereum improvement proposals, or EIPs, and potential hard forks, which are basically upgrades or changes to the Ethereum base chain. These hard forks typically consist of multiple EIPs being implemented at once. For instance, the recent Pectra upgrade was actually a hard fork that consisted of 11 EIPs that improve Ethereum's UX and Layer 2 scaling capabilities. Anyhow, the Foundation also promotes education and awareness around Ethereum's technology and potential, and it does this through multiple avenues. One of these is the ethereum.org website, an educational portal to help onboard users and improve their understanding of Ethereum's tech. The Foundation also engages with businesses, institutions, and even policymakers, all in an effort to promote Ethereum's innovative technology and drive its institutional adoption by off-chain firms. And one way it achieves this is through Etherealize. Now, if you've been keeping up to date with the channel, you'll know that Etherealize is a marketing firm that's backed and funded by the Ethereum Foundation and is focused on driving Ethereum's institutional adoption on Wall Street. More about that in the description. Anyway, as if that wasn't enough, the Ethereum Foundation even organizes various workshops and hackathons, including DevCon, Ethereum's flagship annual developer conference. This event takes place in a different location each year and allows developers and enthusiasts to get together to collaborate, network, and generally have a good old party. There's also the Ethereum Foundation's Fellowship Program, which aims to bridge the gaps between Ethereum's use across different cultures, nationalities, and economic classes, helping to onboard users and attract talent from around the world. Now, it's important to reiterate that while the Ethereum Foundation may coordinate Ethereum's development, this development is not determined by the Ethereum Foundation or indeed any individual or group. Even ETH holders don't get a say in Ethereum's development, which is a bit of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, this prevents manipulation by ETH whales and stops bad actors abusing any governance smart contracts. On the other hand, having Ethereum's development coordinated by an off-chain organization naturally makes it more opaque and difficult to audit. Oh, and by the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, show it some love by smashing those like and subscribe buttons and ping that notification bell too so you don't miss our next one. And if you're looking to trade ETH or indeed any other cryptos, you'll want to check out the Coin Bureau deals page. That's because you can get sign-up bonuses of up to $100,000, trading fee discounts of up to 50%, and deposit cashbacks of up to 75% on the best crypto exchanges. These deals won't be around forever, so click the link down below while you still can. Now, as you may have heard, the Ethereum Foundation's leadership recently went through a bit of a shake-up, which we'll explain in a second. First, though, we need to look at how the Ethereum Foundation was structured beforehand. For years, the foundation was primarily led by Aya Miyaguchi, who was invited by Ethereum creator Vitalik Buterin to become the foundation's executive director back in 2018. Under Aya's leadership, the Ethereum Foundation focused on decentralization and promoting client diversity. Aya also helped oversee the merge, arguably Ethereum's biggest upgrade, which transitioned it from proof of work to proof of stake. And Aya's tenure as executive director has been met with a lot of praise, most notably from Vitalik, who credits her with fostering an environment of innovation. However, there has been lots of criticism from the Ethereum community, who have often questioned her leadership skills, especially when Ethereum started losing mindshare to Bitcoin and other competing chains like Solana. According to the Foundation's website, Aya sits on the executive board alongside Patrick Storchenegger, a Swiss legal expert. Patrick's primary responsibilities include handling legal and compliance and ensuring the Foundation operates within Swiss regulations for non-profits. Patrick also plays a key role in governance, helping set the Foundation's long-term vision. But of course, the person with the most influence is, or rather was, none other than Vitalik himself. As most of you will know, Vitalik is widely recognized as the face of Ethereum, and he also helped to co-create the foundation alongside the other Ethereum founders back in 2014. As such, he's played a key role within the foundation since the very beginning. Vitalik has led Ethereum's technical direction, playing a huge part in shaping its development while communicating its core values to the broader community. However, his influence on the foundation's decisions has at times been overstated, as his formal authority was limited to his board seat, reflecting Ethereum's commitment to decentralization. Anyhow, what's strange is that until recently, there didn't seem to be much of a core business structure in place. Not only is it unclear how many people actually work for the Ethereum Foundation, but there was also an apparent lack of divide between the Foundation's leadership and the rest of its employees. This lack of transparency and organizational structure was widely criticized. What's crazy, though, is that there may have been a secret entity pulling the strings behind closed doors all along, something that Laura Shin discovered when writing her book on Ethereum, The Cryptopians. Basically, she described a so-called shadow government within the foundation, a group of individuals who held significant influence over the foundation despite not having any official roles there. According to Laura, these people wielded so much power that other foundation members were afraid to mention their names or acknowledge their presence at events, even if they didn't actually do anything. She recalled asking Vitalik about one of these figures, to which he simply whistled, appearing surprised and uneasy that anyone was even aware of it. Not suspicious at all. We'll leave a link to that video down in the description below, by the way. The timestamp is around 35 minutes. It's definitely worth the watch if you have the time. Now, this brings us to the recent changes within the Ethereum Foundation. Vitalik announced major changes were coming to the Foundation's leadership in January of this year. The idea was to increase technical expertise at the top level and improve communication and support between the Foundation and builders. Vitalik added that the Foundation wouldn't engage in political lobbying, nor would it take a more central role in Ethereum's development. Regardless, this announcement was made after a pretty bad year for Ethereum in 2024, which saw the Foundation's spending, roadmap goals, and even its personnel come under fire from the Ethereum community. In the days that followed the announcement, some of that community turned surprisingly hostile towards the Ethereum leadership, and especially towards Aya. Some community members began putting the pressure on, hoping to bully her out of her position. Others even resorted to harassment and death threats, which Vitalik quite rightly condemned as, quote, pure evil. This anger stemmed from concerns that Ethereum's future was veering off course, with critics arguing that its Layer 2 ecosystem was cannibalizing the Layer 1 base chain. Many also noted that Ethereum was losing its competitive edge to newer, faster blockchains like Solana. Regardless, Vitalik had to step in and reaffirm his authority over the Ethereum Foundation. He responded to the toxicity by saying, quote, "No, this is not how this game works." He also said that, quote, "You are decreasing the chance I have any interest whatsoever in doing what you want, milady." Safe to say, he wasn't best pleased then. More importantly, though, Vitalik reiterated that the decision on who becomes the Foundation's new leader was his alone to make, until a proper board had been put together. This was in response to calls from the community to make Danny Ryan the new leader of the Foundation, who'd been instrumental in Ethereum's merge. In fact, an informal and unofficial survey was taken at the end of January with a simple yes or no vote on whether Danny should be made the sole leader. A whopping 99.98% of wallet owners voted yes. In any case, all this infighting caused ETH's price to tumble, and Ethereum's on-chain activity declined by 38% the following week. Yikes. To make matters worse, Eric Connor, a core Ethereum developer, believed that Vitalik's sole decision-making went against the core values of decentralization and that of the community. He chose to leave Ethereum as a result, focusing instead on AI agent cryptos. Fast forward to the 1st of March this year, when Danny Ryan announced that he would be joining Vivek Raman as a co-founder of Etherealize, which you'll recall is an organization that markets Ethereum to institutional investors. ETH holders were thrilled at the news, since Danny would be able to wield his expertise to pitch Ethereum to big investors. And that same day, the Ethereum Foundation officially announced that it had created an entirely new leadership structure consisting of 2 co-directors of the foundation. These were Xiaowei Wang, a core Ethereum Foundation researcher, and Thomas Stanchak, the CEO of Nethermind, the second largest execution client on Ethereum. Then, at the end of April, the Ethereum Foundation announced that it had restructured its leadership, defining the roles and responsibilities of its management team and board of directors. Notably, the announcement said that, quote, "The EF board is like a security council to protect the heart and soul of EF by outlining Ethereum's vision while also remaining compliant as a Swiss foundation. Meanwhile, the new management will focus on executing strategies to support this vision." Also joining the Foundation's management team is Bastian Auer, who will focus on organizational strategy, and Josh Stark, who will oversee project execution and marketing efforts. And, for those wondering, Vitalik and Auer remain on the board, along with Patrick, who we mentioned earlier, and Xiaowei Wang, one of the new co-executives, who will bridge the gap between the board and the management team. Strangely though, Thomas Stanchak, the other co-executive, wasn't added to the board. Now, obviously, the recent leadership shuffle means that Vitalik and Auer will have very different roles. Auer was named as the Ethereum Foundation's president, a position that was basically created for her to fill. As the new president, she will oversee the Foundation's vision while managing external relationships. Vitalik, on the other hand, will shift away from day-to-day management and operational duties, instead focusing on providing technical and intellectual guidance on the Ethereum ecosystem. If these roles seem somewhat vague, it's because they appear to be intentionally designed that way, granting Vitalik and Auer more symbolic positions that preserve their influence while keeping them less involved in day-to-day operations. This shift effectively hands more control to the rest of the foundation, aligning with Ethereum's commitment to decentralization. This also allows Vitalik to refocus his efforts on researching other ways to improve the Ethereum blockchain, which begs the question of what's next for Ethereum under the Foundation's new leadership. Well, unless you've been living under a rock, you'll have seen that Ethereum recently went through its Pectra upgrade, which was rolled out onto the mainnet on the 7th of May. To quickly recap, Pectra introduced 11 improvement proposals, or EIPs. Notably, these brought some much-needed UX improvements to Ethereum, allowing for safer smart contracts, enhanced smart wallet functionality, and a smoother staking experience. Closely following the Pectra upgrade will be Fusaka, which is due to be implemented towards the end of 2025, and then Glamsterdam, which will be implemented towards the second half of 2026, despite sounding more like a Dutch rock festival than an Ethereum hard fork. The Fusaka upgrade aims to tackle Ethereum's scaling, while Glamsterdam aims to make Ethereum faster and cheaper to use. Finally. And by the way, you can check out our video on Pectra right over here if you want to learn more. Oh, and don't worry, I'm sure we'll cover the Fusaka and Glamsterdam upgrades too when they come around. And hey, if anyone wants to make Glamsterdam happen as an actual Dutch rock festival, count me in. See you there. Anyhow, Vitalik has also set his sights on some pretty ambitious goals. Specifically, he wants to make Ethereum as simple as Bitcoin over the next few years. I'm not sure how feasible that is, but hey, Vitalik's the gigabrain here, so I'm sure he'll figure it out. Another ambitious goal, meanwhile, is to improve Ethereum's consensus layer to achieve 3-slot finality, which will drastically speed up transaction confirmations. As for the execution layer, Vitalik has proposed a shift away from the Ethereum virtual machine, or EVM, to a ZK-friendly virtual machine like RISC-V. Now this sounds like a lot of work, but the payoff could be huge. It could simplify the protocol and could even result in 100x performance improvements for zero-knowledge proofs. Vitalik has also called for protocol-wide standardization in order to reduce complexity and enhance Ethereum's infrastructure and development. He suggested that devs should adopt a max line of code limit to simplify their protocols. I'm not sure how we feel about that one, to be honest, but Vitalik said that, quote, simplicity is in many ways similar to decentralization. Again, he's the gigabrain here. Meanwhile, the Ethereum Foundation has also restated its own vision. The foundation wrote on X that, quote, our role is both to drive forward critical progress ourselves and to help build up others who help lead the ecosystem. This requires constant evolution. The ETH must change with the ecosystem, adapting to the community's needs while maintaining our core principles. In the thread, the Ethereum Foundation also outlined its key objectives, which aim to tackle 3 primary challenges: scaling Ethereum at the Layer 1 base chain, scaling data availability through blobs, the data attachments introduced in the Denkun upgrade, and improving Ethereum's UX. These objectives aim to combat some of Ethereum's biggest challenges, such as its high transaction costs and network congestion, to help onboard and retain developers and users to the ecosystem. So then, this brings us to the big question: what do all of these developments mean for ETH's price? Well, from our perspective, the recent changes to the Ethereum Foundation could bring new life to Ethereum's development, which could actually become the catalyst ETH needs to see an explosion to the upside. This is anything but guaranteed, but the price action after the Pectra upgrade was promising to say the least. From our perspective, ETH could continue to see further upside from here, and that's for several reasons. The first is Bitcoin dominance. There's no denying that Bitcoin dominance has been going up only, but eventually that trend will change, and history suggests that when it does, this trend changes very quickly. More importantly, history suggests that a significant amount of capital could rotate out of BTC into other large caps when Bitcoin dominance does start to fall, and ETH is the first in line, simply because it's the second largest crypto by market cap. In fact, we'd say that at today's prices, ETH is severely undervalued. Consider that we've just had the Pectra upgrade, which went off without a hitch, by the way. There's also Fusaka and Glamsterdam, 2 major upgrades that will take place over the next year or so. Ethereum is also the chain that will likely see the most institutional adoption, even if some alternatives are better on a technical level. That's because Ethereum is the most secure smart contract blockchain out there. It also hosts the largest ecosystem, has the most DeFi activity, and is the preferred chain for tokenized real-world assets, or RWAs. Not to mention that the actual President of the United States has been buying ETH and will be launching a DeFi protocol on Ethereum. As such, ETH could take many skeptics by surprise and could enjoy one hell of a recovery rally. This could take ETH to new all-time highs and could even attract more speculative retail investors to the broader altcoin market. The question is, will investors even give ETH a chance after so many have abandoned it for chains like Solana or Sui? Only time will tell. Okay, if you enjoyed that video, smash those like and subscribe buttons and show it some love. If you want to learn more about Etherealize, then check out the video right over here. And if you want to hear our bull case for ETH, you can check out the video right over here. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Guy, signing off.